Hi, everybody at the Summit Lighthouse. It's Ben, Brother Eli, Namaste. I'm here to give an update regarding progress and ongoing, let's call them challenges, and uh, I'll leave it at that. Progress and challenges. You know, we all pull together, so I'm here to assist in that effort. I received a very generous donation of prayer cards from the Summit Lighthouse. They're really part of an order, but I know that they were very generous in what they ended up delivering. And I wanted to share with you, and what I want to offer is a chance for as long as I have the cards, for members or non-members, you know, whoever thinks they can benefit from a wallet card, to receive one directly from me. All you would have to pay for is shipping, and that would occur. I think what I would do is I would put it in a rigid. I would put this in a rigid card that I use for a card collection that I have of tradable, you know, antique cards. It's the size of a baseball card slot. They're called top loaders, and what I'll do is put it in a top loader and ship it to you. But you know, here's the secret chamber of the heart right here. What I would do is ask that you pay for just the shipping online. I'll give you the card as a donation. You pay for the shipping, but you'd have to do it online through I think it's Stripe now. My Tidely account is down because my bank wasn't labeled as a business. Of course, it's not labeled as a business, frankly, because I'm not blaming Tidely. It's their rule. It's the rule that their affiliate created. But yeah, it's I think it's going to be Stripe, but what I'll do is I'll give you information in the notes beneath this particular posting. So again, for church people or for people who think that they might benefit from interacting with a Holy Orders member or receiving a card from me, they're right here. Happy to do it. I think sometimes there's a higher shipping and handling cost from the ranch, although they're very good. And I have to say, I want to compliment the ranch, because when these cards came to me professionally packaged. I mean, they're in pristine condition, and they're no scratches on them or anything. And you know, really, these are art, sacred art, and they're worth framing. But I mean, you know, just tell me what you want, and it's going to be like $1 or $2 for shipping, and that's it. And I'll send it right to you in a top loader, as I stated. Love to interact with you, and I love the chance to be able to initiate my donation portal. But I've got Almorias. You know, this is the real Summit Almoria, and I have Threefold Flame as well. The prayers are on the back. I think you can. Is it reverse? I'm not sure how it's going to come out. I'm sure you can't read that, but there are prayers and mantras on the backs of the cards. And again, I'm happy to mail them out to you. So for shipping, at least you give me $1 donation, and I'll ship it to you in a top loader. But yeah, we'd have to get the Stripe going and so forth. These are just amazing. They're just beautiful cards. I want to show you how I use my altar a little bit. There are two kinds of altar. There's the official ranch altar, and then there's the altar that we use in our homes. And a home-based altar is part of, I consider it to be a Hindu practice to have a home-based altar. But you're welcome to maintain a home-based altar and encouraged to do so. You can do it exactly as they set it up at the ranch, or you can do it in a manner that is more personalized and familiar to you. I'm not sure if the ranch layout is contained in the book Ashram Notes by Mark Prophet or not. I don't know. You know, I know there's a sword and there's a guan yin and there's 2 pieces of amethyst and so forth. I think that's all codified. I want to say Ashram Notes, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure where you'd find it. But when you set up your altar, remember, you know, that Jesus goes on the left and Jermaine goes on the right. And Mark goes on Jesus' side and Mother goes on Jermaine's side. When you're facing the altar, that's how it should appear. So I believe it's like the altar of the children of Israel in that regard, with respect to the positions of Jesus and Germain. El Moria. No, Kuthumi, Jesus, and then as a matter of fact, I have the, I received also a small altar. I know, I have one of these for someone too. See that? For as long as they last, you just pay for the shipping and I'll donate it to you. But, right, so when you set up your altar, right, so if you'd like to follow the ranch for your home altar, you know, when you face the altar, Jesus is on your left, Germain is on your right, Mark goes on Jesus' side, Ma goes on Germain's side. And I benefited greatly from framing the wallet cards. Look at that. Mark Prophet right there. And this is a frame that I got at the store down the street, and I think it's just a very effective frame. This probably cost me, the frame itself probably cost me $6 or $7. And as a matter of fact, I was thinking about putting these online and selling them this way, pre-framed. There is some effort involved in framing them, but if you want to frame your own card, please frame your own card. But I was thinking about trying to raise a little bit of money for the church I want to start up here, and that maybe if I did a little bit of work, I'm not sure what people would pay for this. To ship it out, and I think $20 probably, and this will last you, or $15 or $20 probably for a framed mark. And then I have Kuthumi as well, a gold frame, where I keep I keep one of these divine charts. Rather, I keep a chart on there sometimes. But, and then this, let me remove my Buddha. You know, so I'm not sure. I think that people might pay. I want to know what you guys think. If I should sell these, because the effort really is how much time it's a bit time intensive, but it's something that you could do and figure out, I believe. But sacred art to me, this is sacred art that'll last forever. So, and this is the for people who don't know, this is the official portrait of Jesus, done by, the artist is Charles Sindelar, and this was done in the, I think this was commissioned, I'm not sure, I think it was commissioned by Guy and Edna Ballard. I think they paid him to paint it, but we own the license to it. We own the license to this particular piece of art. So Mystical Jesus was painted in the 30s by Charles Sindelar, who started, interestingly, he was an American artist. I think he was American, and he started as a artist for like Sears catalogs and stuff, I think. And I think he might have done an Aunt Jemima, like an early, I was saying this in another video, but he and maybe something to do with ivory soap too. It's really interesting, but this is a very beautiful representation of Jesus. It's beloved Jesus. At the bottom it says the ascended Master Jesus Christ, and it's a very contemplative, amazing portrait of the man and the Master. And I feel that it's worthy of, I think it should be framed. I mean, keep one in your wallet, of course, but I like the smaller altar because it's more manageable for me, and I have a smaller altar with these representations that are framed in my home. But again, you want a wallet card from me? $1 donation on $1 or $2 on Stripe, whichever account it is now, and I'll give you the link. But I'm trying to get a newsletter going, so I really want. I'm trying to raise interest in people paying like just a pittance, a monthly, like $1 or $2, literally, for newsletter and occasional promotions like prayer cards and so forth. Okay, the altar, but I have an altar, and I'll send it to you. I have El Moria. I have a number of El Morias and a number of secret chambers, and I think I have one. I have one of these left. I have that left, but one threefold flame left. So be in touch. I'm happy to be a resource. Okay, so now I think we're going to just slow down a little bit, and this is your time, I think, probably to, if you're interested in supporting this work, to bear with the fact that I'm going to be researching a little bit additionally, and probably not speaking a lot, but I will be here and I will speak when I find words to share that are relevant to what we're doing here. Okay. There's a question the other day. Oh, right. A friend of mine posted information about, she posted information about the books of the Bible, and it was posted by a fundamentalist Christian who was, I mean, I don't want to mischaracterize anybody. It was posted by someone who's opposed to the Catholics having gone in the 17th century to rearrange the Bible. But what I had discovered, this is in 1684, so this is different from the Nicene Council, which happened in the 4th century. Let me think for a minute. I think the Nicene Council was the 4th century, and that's when, you know, when Elizabeth Clare Prophet gets very critical of Bible manipulation. Because the church fathers, I'm basically paraphrasing her right now. The church, well, basically quoting her. The church fathers who put together the canon, and was this in 367? Yeah, and this was in, um, you know, this was done by the Roman Emperor Constantine, a council of Christian bishops convened by Constantine, and I think it was 367. Took out parts of the Gospels with which they disagreed. This says 325, so that was the first council. I think that there were several Nicene councils. It's not 325, the one to which Mother referred. I think it's 367, but I'm not sure. You know, I'm looking at Wikipedia, so the dates can vary, unfortunately. I wonder. I believe that I'm talking about the second or whatever it was, the third council, and I think it was the year was 367. Right. So the church went in, or the Christian church, or the emperor said you have to edit the Bible this way, and so the bishops went through, or the Christian leaders went through, and took out stuff that was inconvenient for them to believe, or rather inconvenient for them to teach, and that included, I think, I'm not sure if Enoch was removed at that time, or um, if it ever made it in at all, or if Enoch was discovered later. I'll have to research it. But I know that the Book of Enoch is actually part of, I think it's the Ethiopic Orthodox Church. It's actually in that Bible. They're similar to the Russian Orthodox and the Greek Orthodox Church, but they're Ethiopian. So the creed, rather the doctrine, is slightly different. And some of those are odd churches because in the Roman Catholic Church, if you're Orthodox Catholic, which is considered to be similar by the Roman Catholics, or Greek Orthodox, it's one or two of them. You can receive communion without being baptized and without going all through the sacraments. Normally, if you're a non-Catholic Christian or a non-Catholic, you cannot receive communion until you understand it fully, which means that you have to go through a whole vetting process. You have to learn about it. The Catholics believe, this is an interesting point, the Catholics believe that the Greek Orthodox, or the Russian, or both, I'm not sure, are already understand it, so that if they visit your Roman Catholic Church, they're welcome to have the Eucharist. But interestingly, the Orthodox churches don't feel the same way. They won't give communion to a Roman Catholic. You can get it, but you have to get a special dispensation from the bishop. That's what it says. So that's another point when I was talking about Calvin and Luther. I want to embark on that again because it's fascinating to me, and when I start to open it, I kind of fall into this cosmic time tunnel or wormhole where I can't really get my neck out of it because it is so absorbing. And there are some gaps in information where it's just sort of the universe is just sort of demanding that we address the issue, which is when I was telling you they have Latin phrases for it in Roman Catholicism. It's really the living word, it's the evolving word, and it's like law. So it has to evolve for the welfare of mankind. And it's not really a choice. I mean, it's not like anybody is sitting you down and saying that you absolutely must study theology. But when someone is in possession of the knowledge, they need to be supported, and that project needs to be supported because it informs the entire layout of thought and ergo the protection of humanity. Maybe that is something that I can look up for us again in this. The Vatican, they have information about it on their website. I think it's I don't think it's Sensus Fidelium, but it's similar to it's found a couple paragraphs down from the information on Sensus Fidelium. It could be Sensus Fidelium. Let me take a look at it. No, Sensus Fidelium is really your sense of faith, which CUT people, all the TSL people I know really have that in spades. I mean, I don't really think that you hit the Summit Lighthouse for entry and for inclusion unless you have a deep sense of faith. It's also known as Sensus Fide, right? I said this in another VR. And this is according to the Catechism of the Catholic Church, is, quote, and I'm quoting, the supernatural appreciation, okay? They use the word supernatural. The supernatural appreciation of faith on the part of the whole people when from the bishop. So it's not just individual, I'm a faithful person, I'm individually faithful. It's how TSL people feel in community as well. And the shared sense of faith is sensus fide. On the part of the whole people, when from the bishops of the last of the faithful, they manifest a universal consent in matters of faith and morals. Manifest a universal consent, which is what we do automatically at TSL, and nobody really talks about it. Not in these terms. This is accurate, this is highly accurate, but I don't think, so when I talk about not merging with the Catholic Church, but forging a tie and an understanding that is meaningful to both faiths, then this is one of the points to which I turn. I'll read it again. It's the supernatural. Sensus fide or sensus fidelium means sense of the faithful, and it's the supernatural appreciation of faith on the part of the whole people, when from the bishops to the last of the faithful, they manifest a universal consent in matters of faith and morals. Quoting the document, Lumen Gentium of the Second Vatican Council, the Catechism adds, by this appreciation of the faith, aroused and sustained by the Spirit of truth, the people of God, guided by the sacred teaching authority, receives the faith once for all delivered to the saints. The people the people unfailingly adhere to this faith and penetrate it more deeply with right judgment and apply it more fully in daily life. So that's what I mean when I say that the word really can't be stopped, or if you stop the evolution of the word, it's counterproductive to humanity, because the community needs it. It needs the additional understanding and the in some sense linguistic expanse, I suppose, or it needs the language and the memory But it has to be the Sanatana Dharma, the eternal truth. What's interesting is the Catholics don't really call it Sanatana Dharma, but there's also an opportunity there as well to compare. We're part Buddhist and we're part also part Christian, but to express our experience in Catholic terms, but also present it in our own, according to our own lexicon. Okay, let's see here. The living tradition, and they call it the living tradition of essential beliefs throughout history. And listen to this too. What I was saying before about the whole community or experiencing faith as part of a community, they have two other Latin terms. One is sensus fide fidelium, which is sense of the faith on the part of the faithful, which makes sense, right? Sensus fide fidelium, sense of the faith on the part of the faithful. But they also have something called sensus fide fidelis, which is sense of the faith on the part of an individual member of the faithful. So when you're absolutely 100% blown over by the fact that you're Jewish, or you are in an exalted state of awareness and are experiencing elevated levels of faith as a result of your adherence to whichever path, it is the path that is also informing you as an individual member of that path. So Fidelis is a little bit different from Fidelium, which is the faithful, the group that is faithful. I think that's the difference. What they're saying is that the group is faithful, and also the individual experiences faith based upon that group. And I'm talking about supernatural levels, supernatural appreciation of faith, which I think is experienced by people who understand that they're quote unquote saved, or have a fixed but comfortable relationship to their faith, or understand their faith through a particular path, but understand it fully through that path without sort of qualification, I believe. I'm not talking about overly rigid adherence to one teacher or one church even, but it's similar to being born again. In some ways I am born again CUT. I don't really see my faith as being anything really beyond it, or that I don't see the necessity of, sure, yeah, there's faith beyond and exterior to the church, but I don't see myself as anything less than CUT or part CUT, meaning the Summit Lighthouse, at all. And I think that other people that I know at the Summit Lighthouse have extremely evolved senses of faith. And so that's what this is. And, this looks accurate, and it's a Wikipedia topic under Sensus Fidelium. So that's important. And then one of the popes, actually recent Pope Benedict the 16th, distinguished between the authentic meaning of sensus fide and a counterfeit understanding. It is certainly not a kind of public ecclesial opinion, okay? Check this out. And invoking it in order to contest the teachings of the Magisterium would be unthinkable, since the sensus fide cannot be authentically developed in believers, except to the extent in which they fully participate in the life of the Church, and this demands responsible adherence to the Magisterium, to the deposit of faith. Deposit of faith. So really, when you are fully not adherent to the sensus fide, but when you are under its aegis entirely, or within that realm properly, it's not that you haven't developed that ability, that level of faith, except, as he said, except to the extent at which you have fully participated in the life of the church. So believers are not simply, it's not about I wrote the Ten Commandments. You read the Ten Commandments and you adhere to them. It's that you fully absorb the reality of the entire world of the church, and that is from having experienced it firsthand as well, which is why it's important that people get to church. Do you know what I mean? I think there are people that I'm still in awe of my TSL faith, and I think people who are very adherent feel the same. Their heart chakras open in a way that is that has emerged from the special qualities, the faith qualities that arise when you are, I think, a witness to the Magisterium. I think witnessing the Magisterium is a huge component of the Sensus Fidei. The two go hand in hand. And it's interesting, they start splitting hairs. Identified with prevailing opinion. Here's a paragraph. The Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, which is a congregation seated at the Palace of the Holy Office in Rome, ruled out the sociological augmentation, which holds that the opinion of a large number of Christians would be a direct and adequate expression of the supernatural. Again, supernatural sense of the faith, sensus fidei. It commented, the believer can still have erroneous opinions, okay, since all his thoughts do not spring from faith. Not all the ideas which circulate among the people of God are compatible with the faith. This is all the more so given that people can be swayed by public opinion, influenced by modern communications media. Not without reason did the Second Vatican Council emphasize the indissoluble bond between the sensus fidei and the guidance of God's people by the magisterium of the pastors. These two realities cannot be separated. So, all super interesting stuff. Concern with church governance. Use by the magisterium. There's also a link at the bottom of this to something called private revelation as well. Okay, excuse me for 1 minute. Clicking through.